Welcome back to Magdala for our series Go Out into the Deep as we explore the 12 apostles. And today we have James, son of Alphaeus, as Mark chapter 3 mentions in the list of the apostles. And he's also referred to indirectly at the time of the crucifixion when his mother is mentioned in Mark chapter 15 and verse 40. And there we see that Mary is the mother of James, the younger, or the less, and also of Joseph. So he has a brother. So now we know he's the son of Alphaeus. He is the son of Mary, another Mary obviously, and he's got a brother. And then we see and we ponder the fact that there at the crucifixion is Mary, his mother. And the probability is, according to other parts of the story when they're put together, she might be also the Mary of Cleophas. And so here we have a relative probably of Jesus, and therefore the brother of Jesus. So we have three James that scholarship tries to analyze and distinguish: James the greater, or the great, and we have James the less, or the younger, and we have James the brother of Jesus. But tradition often has confused or put together James, or understood as the same person, James and the son of Alphaeus, and James the brother of Jesus. We won't fix that problem because it's very entangled and it's been there since the beginning of the church. And even though present-day scholarship tends to separate them very clearly, it's very possible that those attitudes will not stay for too long, that there will still be a much sustained debate on the matter. So I will just treat, without distinguishing, those two James, James the brother of Jesus, and James the son of Alphaeus, James the lesser. So what do we know about him? Well, he doesn't say much. And that's a very interesting thing. In one sense, you can say you can't make much out of that. Well, maybe you can. When you have a group of people that's living together for a while, and basically the Gospels tell us about them, and tell us a lot about them, then we see the normal, naturally given variety of personalities and characters. And so we have Peter all the time talking, and almost all the time Jesus correcting him, except at Caesarea Philippi when he praises him. And then we have Philip asking questions at the Last Supper, and Jesus said, "How long do I have to be with you? Don't you know me?" And we have somebody else speaking as well, and now it's not coming to me. But it's interesting that James, the son of Alphaeus, is not speaking. And why is that? There are always in groups of people, some few people or maybe many people, who are quietly pondering and getting what's going on. And they get the whole picture. One of the reasons we can be pretty certain about this is that we see James as a man of deeds. And that's what he speaks about in his letter. We'll get to that afterwards in the second session. And he is doing, his family is doing. Faith is a path of being with Jesus, following him along the way. It's a path of building up quietly, doing the job, walking the talk. This is a very interesting possible feature of James, the son of Alphaeus. But then a moment comes when he does talk, and when they said about Thomas Aquinas when he was studying, students mocked that he was so quiet, and Albert the Great said, "But wait until the dumb ox speaks," and what he did deliver for humanity. And so here we find at the council in Jerusalem in the Acts of the Apostles chapter 15, we find James is the one who delivers the judgment for the community on the very thorny, controversial issue of circumcision as an obligation for the Gentiles should they be baptized. And when all the passions were poured out from the different sides of the argument, there was silence, and James responded. So he responded. He wasn't the main speakers of the speakers in the beginning. "My brothers, listen to me. And then he goes on to do a little summary, and he quotes the prophet Amos to make his point. And then he said, "It is my judgment, therefore, that we ought to stop troubling the Gentiles who turn to God, but tell them by letter to avoid some bad practices." So here we have this great personality that it's vested with a lot of authority, that's able to speak and settle the matter because it's his content is the main substance of the letter that's sent to Antioch to resolve the dispute. And we can turn now to Flavius Josephus, who has a very interesting text in the Antiquities of the Jews, one of the books he has left us, in 29:1. And there he says the following. There was obviously great hostility to the Christians in Jerusalem from the Jewish leadership. And Paul had escaped their clutches. He was on his way to Rome. We're talking about the year 62. Festus the governor had died. And Caesar had appointed a new governor, Albino. So this is the circumstance. So I'll read from Flavius Josephus. "Festus was now dead, and Albinus was upon the road. So the high priest Ananus assembled the Sanhedrin of judges and brought before them the brother of Jesus, who was called the Christ, whose name was James, and some others." We leave it like that. They give, obviously then Flavius Josephus mentions this horrible death they gave, and there was quite a bit of controversy among the Jewish society that really appreciated James, even though he was the leader of the Christians, because of his great standing in Jerusalem. And this is a sketch of James, so come back for part 2 as we conclude about him.